y'all, I'm Kara Perez, founder of Bravely Go, and today we are going to talk about the economics of the manosphere. There are a lot of videos about the social impact and the politics of the men of the manosphere, and we'll be touching on that today, but I really want to dive into the money that these men are making and specifically how they make this money by taking advantage of their audiences. If you'd like to support our channel, which is notably not misogynistic and not a part of the manosphere, please consider becoming a patron. You can find the link in our description to our Patreon, where you will be able to read all about the benefits that our patrons get, such as exclusive event discounts, quarterly AMAs with me, and exclusive content. Okay, let's start off by defining the word manosphere because it's a little silly, but it's very important that we understand what we're talking about when we use that word. This is a corner of the internet that is dominated by straight men that create content for other men that ostensibly tells these men how to be men. I know I use the word man and men a lot in that, but that's what it is. And the underlying message, well, not even really underlying, sometimes the flat out blatant call to action here is that the world is hostile to men and it is feminists' fault. But if you listen to these men and you do what they say, and most importantly, if you buy their products, you will be able to break free from these feminazis who are trying to turn you into a beta, and you will be able to achieve your best alpha status. And this corner of the internet is absolutely swimming in money. But how has the manosphere grown so big? And why are so many men paying these misogynistic jerk faces to basically help them hate women? Why did this happen in the first place? Well, unfortunately, hating women is nothing new. And with the rise of women being able to do things like leave the house, get a job, vote, open their own bank accounts, a lot of men have seen that as an attack on them as individuals, and also changing social norms along the lines of things like gay marriage or trans rights growing, though of course trans rights are also deeply under attack. Basically shifting social norms has created an opening for misogynistic men to say, hey, other men, the world is being taken from you, and this is why you need to fight back. This has resonated with a lot of people, especially over the last 5 or so years in the United States, and we see that with the rise of politicians like Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, who explicitly use messaging from the manosphere in their political platforms. When people are feeling isolated, left behind, ignored, it creates an emotional void in them. These people in the manosphere have been able to fill that void. People of all types, myself included, are constantly looking for a place where they can belong. We as humans form in-groups and out-groups. We want to be with people that we like, that we admire, that we feel comfortable with. This desire for belonging is part of the reason cults will never die out. People join cults for a lot of reasons. Mostly, search for meaning and identity, vulnerability, a sense of community and belonging, the desire for personal transformation, emotional manipulation from a cult leader, a charismatic leader telling someone what they want to hear or making promises to them about what they could be, an escape from their present-day problems that seem overwhelming, a desire for answers in a world that is filled with chaos, peer pressure and social influence from others that they know and trust, isolation from external information, so not being able to fact-check information they are told by the cult leader, and finally, incremental involvement, starting off small and building to bigger things over time. This is the exact playbook that the major voices in the manosphere use to recruit followers to their cause, and most importantly, to make sales to these people. And honestly, going over that list I just read, a lot of them make sense. If someone popped up in your life and said, hey, I can solve your biggest problem for you, while giving you a community of people who are going through the same thing as you, and I'm gonna be there guiding you through it the whole time, supporting you, that is a very compelling pitch that works on a lot of people, not just men. But if you are a man, let's say you're a straight man, and you want a girlfriend, and you've asked a few girls out and they've turned you down, you might start asking questions like, what is wrong with me? Why don't girls like me? The manosphere takes that vulnerability, manipulates it, and offers you back a 2-for-1. Girls don't like you, the Manosphere says, and they don't like you because you're not doing the right things. You're not eating the right way, you're not working out, you're not listening to the right things, you're not becoming the alpha that all women crave. Part 2 is that women desire this alpha because they are the biologically weaker sex. They are driven to find a provider. They don't want to be the ones providing. Feminism has brainwashed them into thinking that. Their ovaries are turned off by a man that they sense cannot provide for them. So if you want a woman, you need to become that provider. But getting a woman is the ultimate goal. You need to become someone that women will be inherently attracted to. That way, you assume your role as the alpha and you get the ultimate prize, women. There's a lot of logical inconsistencies with the thoughts of the Manosphere, which is unsurprising for most cults. I can't think of a single cult that, I sit down and I think, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Their focus isn't on having an airtight, logical philosophy. Their focus is on emotionally manipulating you enough that you will become a devoted follower who will pay money to hear them say what they have to say. And this focus is incredibly profitable for anyone or for any industry. Consider the weight loss industry, which is expected to grow from $275.97 billion in 2022 to almost $300 billion in 2023. The weight loss industry tells us that there is power in being thin, that being thin makes you beautiful, makes you valuable, makes you smart, and that if you only drink your meals instead of eating, you'll lose weight and become thin. Or if you eat more fiber than anything else, you'll become thin. Or if you give up carbs, or if you stop drinking, or if you work out in this way, or if you work out in this other way, you will become thin. There's a lot of roads to get you to the goal, but the goal never changes. And all these roads serve as ways to separate you from your money, which in turn makes the weight loss industry very, very valuable. Now, circling back to the Manosphere, I want to talk about how much money these guys are actually making. And when I say these guys, you're probably familiar with some of the top dogs. We're talking about the Jordan Petersons, the Andrew Tates, the Fresh and Fits of the world. Well, Andrew Tate is reportedly worth $370 million. Jordan Peterson is reportedly worth between $7 and $10 million. And Myron Gaines is allegedly worth $1.5 million. And while they will all shout from the rooftop that they are their own businesses and that they are self-made, really what they are is MLMs. Here's one quote from a recent article in Mother Jones that covered the Manosphere. Most of these internet masculinity gurus operate like influencers. Often, the goal is to convert followers into customers. They're basically trying to create a problem which doesn't exist and then get you to pay for a solution to that problem, Mark told me. You can see why young people feel lonely and why they feel hopeless about the future, Kelly, the researcher, told me. Today's masculinity influencers offer something a therapist won't. It comes with a hook which says, it's not your fault if you've ever felt this way. The problem is feminism. And, in fact, in some cases, the problem isn't even just feminists, but women in general. The thing that kills me personally about the Manosphere is that these men have correctly identified that there is a problem with a lot of men today. There is a crisis of loneliness among men. Men don't have the social circles that a lot of women have. There is a rising cost of living crisis where everything is getting more and more expensive. And people don't have as much freedom to pursue their interests and passions. Toxic masculinity, the idea that a man has to look a certain way, act a certain way, this also hurts men by eliminating options where maybe they want to be the guys who paint or the guys who garden. If we say a man should never garden and a man has an interest in gardening, now he's dealing with internal guilt and self-doubt and he maybe hates himself. And that's a really crappy way for that guy to have to live. But instead of pointing their podcast mics at the actual culprits, which is capitalism and patriarchy, the guys of the Manosphere have said, hey, why don't we blame women for this? It's women's fault that you feel isolated and sad and insecure because these women are no longer adhering to their biological roles. If only women would do the right thing, it would be easier for you, a man. This is also touched upon in that same Mother Jones article. One of the things that I find so dangerous about Manosphere influencers is they'll often say, men have very high suicide rates. Men have very high levels of homelessness. But what they actually offer is an incredibly bad deal, said Kelly, the researcher. They have no real solutions to many of the problems they talk about. So what solutions do they offer? Well, they offer courses. They offer exclusive podcast content. They offer workout plans, all of which come at a cost, a pretty high cost. Yes, these Manosphere influencers are selling products, but they are also setting their audiences up to fail. The majority of their listeners must remain betas, otherwise their customer pool dries up. So these Manosphere influencers, they don't actually want you to become fitter and hotter and more educated and better well-rounded. They want you to get angrier and angrier, but they don't want you to actually improve your life, because then you'll stop buying their shit. The job that the Tates and the Petersons have in this world is not to actually move you from point A to point B. Their job is recruiting more men to their worldview and then keeping them on a hamster wheel of promises. These men are constantly moving the goalpost for success. If you look at their content, they are constantly contradicting themselves. Success is being fit, but only if you get fit via a specific diet. If you eat too many vegetables, you're just a soy boy. Success is getting a woman, but only a high-value woman. If you're dating a fatty, that's embarrassing for you, beta. Of course, the actual solution to these crises that men are going through, like loneliness, like rising cost of living, like lack of community, it's things like being active parts of their local community, building stronger friendships with people, actually respecting women so that a woman wants to spend time around you. A man that you have never met constantly demeaning you via social media and then asking for your money is not the solution that you really need. You will never hear Andrew Tate say, "Share openly and vulnerably with your male friends. Try volunteering in your community." That's never gonna happen because these men do not actually want you to succeed. So now I want to walk step by step through their sales funnel so that you can see this happening in real time. The first point of contact will be an incendiary social media post. You know the kind of content I'm talking about. These posts are polarizing by design. And that's because polarizing takes evoke emotion. Anger, disagreement, resentment, disbelief. And these emotions make people want to share, which then in turn amplifies the post and gets it in front of a wider audience. If you find something that you believe speaks exactly to your soul, you want to share because you agree with it. Or if you find something that you think is straight garbage, you want to share so that you can say, "Look at how terrible this is." Either way, it's a win for the creator because their content is getting seen. The second point of contact is to give away enough information to make yourself seem like an expert. But very crucially, you have to withhold the details that will complete their journey, that will actually get them the success that they want. In this type of content, these creators are also displaying themselves in some sort of aspirational way. This is when you see men like on top of mountains, on top of horses, surrounded by women. They have the thing that they know their audience wants. Third point of contact is to offer an exclusive workshop that solves one of their very specific problems. And of course, you can only get access to this workshop via email. This workshop will absolutely be set up on ClickFunnels and it will run constantly, like every 30 minutes, but it will be marketed as an exclusive, one-time only offer. Come be with us live so we can share our secrets to getting 20 women to love you or whatever it is. This webinar will just magically be going live a few minutes after you sign up, and the only way that you will have access to it is via your email. So now, the content creator has captured your email. They have another way to get in touch with you rather than just hoping you see their post on social media. And the fourth point of contact is the sales pitch and onslaught of emails. At the end of the webinar, there will be a pitch. Buy my course, subscribe to my exclusive podcast content, get this t-shirt, come to my live event in Atlanta or Nashville. And since you watched his webinar, of course, whatever the pitch is will be on sale just for you so that you feel special and that you feel like the content creator is doing you a favor. And then over the next couple of days, you will receive a slew of emails, usually 3 to 4 emails a day. And the emails will show you the life that you could have, the life that the content creator has. But you'll only have this life if you buy their product. And that is the sales funnel. Now, I don't want to imply that all sales funnels are scammy. A lot of us are in a lot of sales funnels for companies that we like and trust. And a good example of a sales funnel that is not nearly as emotionally manipulative is when you go to a website and a little pop-up ad comes up and says, get 10% off for entering your email, and then you get 10% on your purchase. You've given them your email. You know that they're going to email you more, right? You're probably going to get 2 or 3 emails a day from this brand, but they're going to be sending you things like future codes or letting you know about sales or new product launches. They're not going to be sliding into your inbox and being like, why are you eating broccoli, you beta? Do you know that women hate broccoli? Like, oh my God. Oh, some of these Manosphere influencers, like their sales pitches are so bonkers, I kind of can't handle it. And honestly, y'all, for our own budgeting purposes and to like save our brains from the misogynistic onslaught, it is really important we understand how this works. So that is the economics of the Manosphere. Let's definitely talk in the comments about this misogynistic MLM, and definitely tell me your feelings on, you know, the Tates, the Petersons, the whomever of the Manosphere. I'm definitely very intrigued by this corner of the internet, and I want to talk about it with y'all. If you've learned something, if you like our content, it would be great if you shared this video, if you gave it a thumbs up, and if you hit subscribe. And make sure to come back every Monday for new videos.